What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It's July 30th, 2021. Hope everyone had an awesome trading day, and it is Friday. Everyone, please go ahead and click the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content. I'll continue to make it for you. First of all, I have to apologize. I did not realize that during these videos, you were hearing those noises as loud as you were. Those are from my Benzinga Pro. And, whenever there's like a new piece of news or like a new earnings release, it makes those noises. And I did not realize that even when I had my computer on mute where I couldn't hear it, I think it was still coming up in the videos. So I just completely exited out of my Benzinga Pro. To be honest, I'm probably going to switch off of that anyway. I don't think it's as good for as much as they charge. But that's besides the point. But anyway, my apologies sincerely. And I'm actually going to be doing a couple new things with these videos. I'm working on getting somebody from Fiverr to do like a video intro, some background music, all that stuff. I'm always just trying to make the quality of the videos better and really like just the quality of the experience for all Pristine Capital members. I want to make sure that's always, moving up and to the right. So with that being said, today we are going to talk about price action, the indices. We'll go through the earnings for a lot of these names that reported, and we'll pull up the charts. We'll go through a bunch of my trades for the day, and then we'll wrap up with options order flow. Before we dig into all that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, let's jump in here, team. All right, so it is Friday. Hope everyone is having an awesome Friday. I hope everyone has some nice plans for this weekend as well. Let's pull this up. Let me real quick. Bang. Okay, S&P 500. Let's go through these box scores. SPY closed down 0.49%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ finish down 0.52%. We had the IWM small caps closed down 0.66%, and we had the Dow Jones closed down 0.38%. So to me, I was getting ready for like a really nasty day. Like in our pre-market webinar, I was telling, all of our members, like, guys, like, today expect the unexpected, could be in for the worst. I had been game planning since last night, and I was like, okay, here's all the exposure I'm going to take off. And I really just wanted to wait for the first like 30 minutes to an hour of trading and just see how it all shook out. And I must say, this definitely went the happy path. This is a down day, but in terms of just like, what I own and, the portfolio and just the way things could have gone, I would say this is about as happy path as it gets. You can see all this was a little doji candle in terms of the ES futures. Look at this. So we closed above the 5-day EMA. We're above this monthly value area. Keep in mind, we are getting a new monthly value area starting Monday because we are entering August. So I hope everyone had an awesome month, but we are about to embark on a brand new month. So if you want to turn over a new leaf in your trading, beginning of month is always a perfect time to do that. And yeah, so we're trading pretty much, we're going to be opening up right at the top of value. So we don't really have much to go off of, and things could flip, either way, to be quite honest, at the beginning of the month. Keep in mind, seasonality for the beginning of August is not the best. So just something to be mindful of. NASDAQ closed down 0.48%. But to me, this was bonkers. So we undercut that 20-day off of those weak Amazon results, but this was the strongest index today. We've literally just, this dip was bought, and we just trended higher pretty much throughout the whole session. So again, we're closing above the 20-day and above all these, key moving averages. We're going to be opening up also right at the top of value. Russell, this one, a little bit more ambiguous. I would say this also isn't really even a bad close. We closed down 0.48%, and really all this is just a day of sideways consolidation after taking out the 20-day simple moving average. And we also, we undercut the 20-day and we bounced right above it. So I can't really say this was a horrible day for the Russell either. And then the Dow Jones still just consolidating sideways in this little range. Let's go through some of these earnings because they were pretty cataclysmic. Let's see. So we'll go through, market breadth was negative in 3 out of the 4 indices. And you can see best breadth was the NASDAQ, ironically, even though, Amazon and some other tech companies reported poor earnings. Worst breadth was the small caps. Okay, so let's pull up some of these bad boys. So let's talk about Amazon. Amazon down 7.56%. This is ugly. And the reason why I think this is even more ugly is because ever since this breakout candle right here, there's been heavy call activity in Amazon. Players, every day I use my VigTech options order flow. I go through the, flow leaders. And Amazon has been appearing in the flow leaders for weeks and weeks. Everyone's been loading the boat on calls. Now this earnings print, throws a wrench in that, in that plan that a lot of these institutions had of just loading up on Amazon. Their e-commerce division slowed, and they missed their sales for the first time in, for quite a while. So that's Amazon. We also had Zendesk, which reported weak earnings. A lot of these are looking like they could make for some really good shorts. So this is giving me some good ideas for a weekend watch list, which I put together for members every single weekend. And yeah, this looks, it doesn't look pretty. Zendesk down 13.28%. eBay down 7.08%. Also putting in just an ugly candle. And then we had some others. We had Twilio. This one, not the best, but not the worst. This one held above this monthly value area, sort of trading to the bottom end of the range here. And we'll see if we tag that 50-day at some point. And then we had, some winners. Let's go through the winners because those are the ones I'm most focused on. And I know there's a natural inclination. I received a couple questions today about buying stocks, after earnings. And there's always this natural inclination where it's like, let me buy the one, that got hammered. And sometimes that works, but other times you're just buying into the beginning of a downtrend. Team, this one really surprised to the upside. Finished up 21.86%. Did not close on the highs, but really nice day of price action overall. What else? Oh, Capri reported earnings, and this is another one. This is a beautiful candle. I'm going to be watching this one. Again, we didn't close on the highs, but you can see we closed outside of this monthly value area. And Capri's been consolidating for a while. This is definitely a big expectation breaker. We were all the way in the dumps down here before this earnings report. So this is a pretty big one. Okay, and then last but not least, in terms of, just losers today, Pinterest. This one, everyone has high expectations for this. And I think a lot of the investors, they're not even going to sell. So this is one that I think could head lower just because, there's so many people that they're like, it was a bad report, but I'm not going to sell out. A lot of times what ends up happening is those people that say, I'm going to hang on, it'll probably bounce back. It ends up just like bleeding out lower for a while. So we'll see. But yeah, Pinterest looking interesting. So yeah, a lot of names that were just causing these huge splashes. And so I was thinking, we might get a really down day in the market because of all those, expectation breakers like Amazon. Look at this. This is ugly here. And Amazon is an 8.32% weight in the QQQ ETF. So it really does move the needle. Like Amazon just being this red contributes, that's about like 60 basis points of downside for the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ didn't even close down 60 basis points. So that just, that speaks volumes right there. Tesla, nice green performance. I know a lot of people are trading that. AMD, which I am currently long. AMD had a nice performance as well. Closing up 3.15%. Yeah, AMD is making a nice move on high volume. And I was looking at AMD earlier. AMD trades at, this is before the close today, but at 10.84 times sales. So that actually has room to run. Whereas a lot of these other names that were correcting today, they're trading at like 50 times sales, 60 times, 40 times. So it's, even when they break out, I don't get super excited because I know there's not really much meat on the bone up at these levels. But for something like AMD, that's like, okay, this thing, let's say if it starts trading at, 12 times sales or 15 times sales, that's a 20% or 50% increase in the stock. So, yeah, you can get meaningful upticks in some of these names. Okay, so let's jump over to our sectors. And one sec, I'm just taking a snapshot of my trades. Bear with me here. There we go. Usually I do this beforehand, but yeah, I had a bunch of trading volume today. Side note. Okay, so we got these ready. But yeah, sectors. Let's set the table before we jump into the trades. Sectors. You can see this was pretty risk off. I mean, we had a lot of bloody red sectors, and you can see the best performers. We had the semiconductors were up 0.82%, and we had the medical devices up 0.63%. We have style factors. Everything was red except for defensives. So that again is very risk off. Our worst performers, we had international value, and we had high beta, which is our second worst performer. Okay, so let's jump into my trades. And where my head was at pretty much was, okay, today's trading session, I know we're entering weak seasonality. I want to make sure that everything I have a nice winner in, I'm making sure to protect that. Because that's where most traders screw up. They have nice winners, and then they let them turn into losers. And then they have trades they put on recently that, turn into losers because the market turns. Then it's like you're just sitting with a portfolio of losers. So it is important when you have winners, make sure you're monitoring them. And if the market conditions look like they're going to get very weak, take in at least like a part of the positions. That's what I was trying to do today. So I closed out a third of my DigitalOcean shares for $51.77. I had paid $46.99. And this was my rationale. It's kind of nuanced, but I'm closing out part of my position because I want to protect my profit. I'm not closing out the full position because I like my $46.99 cost basis and would buy it again if it hits that level. So it's like if you already have a great cost basis and you're like, if it got there, I would just be buying it back anyway. That to me is like, I'm not going to take off the full position, but I do want to take some off in case we retrace back to that level, then I can buy more. So yeah, and then I closed out another small piece of my Global E for $69.77. I had paid $55.15 for this. Now I'm down to a runner. And I said this name is extended. Let's take a look at Global E. Global E is just the ripper. Yeah, so you can see this one very extended from the 20-day. And it put in, this to me looks like it could be like a little short-term topping candle. This is another one. I love this company, and I wouldn't mind buying it, on a retest to maybe this new monthly value area that's going to be forming, or the 20-day. And then what else do we have? I added to my Ethereum position. An Ethereum and these cryptos. Oh my gosh, let's go. They tend to do this. It's ridiculous, team. So I love this. I've noticed this pattern. This is like an alpha leak right here. So every Friday, there will be like this pretend dip where it shakes everyone out, because I really think most people that buy cryptocurrency, they just have no idea what it even is that they own. They own it because they think it's going to go up. And so as soon as it doesn't go up, they just paper hand because they really, they don't know what they're holding on to. And I think that's like most people in like the investments world. But yeah, there's always this little dip into Friday. And then all of a sudden, as soon as everyone punches out and the people that could be buying like the Bitcoin ETFs and like GBTC and MicroStrategy, they leave, then all of a sudden it just like pumps higher into the weekend. So I noticed we had a really nice push higher in both Bitcoin and Ethereum over the weekend. I mean, not over the last week. Yeah, you can see this huge green candle. We really pushed higher. And then we were getting rejected at 40K a lot. But on the downside, we were getting no traction either. So to me, this looks like, a little consolidation within a new bullish trend. And so I chose to buy Ethereum because I already have, I have a bunch of MicroStrategy. And, I have Bitcoin as well. But yeah, Ethereum now turned flat. It was pretty red earlier today, down like as much as like 3.5%. And Bitcoin is nice and positive. So let's see what happens this weekend, team. If Bitcoin, that's the thing. Like, I almost paper-handed myself, not going to lie. And I know, I'm pretty transparent with what I'm doing with my group. So, like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to stop out, if this doesn't turn around. And one of our members, definitely shout out to him. He knows who he is. He brought up that the B word conference, and that was the thing that prevented me from paper handing. And now these things are starting to move to the upside again. So, what I'm observing is that with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, things change very fast. It's a highly volatile asset. So you can go from, oh my gosh, this thing is going to zero, Jesus take the wheel. And all it takes is a couple of candles to just traverse so many of the technical levels. So like, not saying this is going to happen, like anything can happen this weekend. But all it would really take is like one bullish day of price action. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're at the 200 day. And then suddenly everyone starts looking. And like if we were to hit, traverse this ground and hit the 200 day, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we're about to push back into the range that we were in at all-time highs. And then people will be kicking themselves like, oh my gosh, it crashed and I never bought it again. So I think we're nearing like a very interesting psychological level for these assets. But anyway, so that's my take there. And then I closed out more of my DigitalOcean towards the end of the day. Just because I wanted to protect that winner. I added to some Futu call spreads this morning. And with these Asian equities, I honestly think that, and this is kind of like a big if these things don't get delisted, which I don't think is going to happen, I think these things are trading at such a ridiculous discount right now. So ridiculous. And it's like everyone's looking for, like, where do I put my capital? In 2021, the best place to put your capital has always been quality assets that are trading, well off their highs. So Alibaba, this thing closes down for the session. Opens up down for the session, and almost the entire day it's rallying. So that to me is telling me, like, people are, there's like this bear bull battle down here where it looks to me like a bottoming process. You can see the explosion in volume. The other thing is Alibaba reports earnings on Tuesday. I know this is not going to be one of those, it's not going to be like an Amazon situation where like everyone's long coming in, everyone was loading the boat on calls and then it disappoints. No one is allocated to these names anymore. These are very oversold. So I think there actually is room for an upside surprise. Futu I added to my call spreads. And that's why I'm just using options for these because, what happens if they do delist, then I'm just out the premium that I put in. But yeah, Futu also. I'm seeing this action here. And, as soon as this volume starts to dry up a little bit, if you're selling like in here, you're capitulating. Like, look at this volume. So like eventually there's always a level of downside where volume just dramatically picks up. And that oftentimes is, a short-term bottom. So like you'll see, we have this downdraft in Futu over here. And we maybe had like, this one day was huge volume, people buying the dip. But like for the most part, investors, I don't think were really like all that fazed by this. But on this drop, everyone just hit, the panic button. So we'll have to see. These Chinese names are looking pretty solid. Another one that's going to be on my radar, Neo. This thing has not missed a beat. This thing is like still trading in value even though the Chinese assets crashed. So this one looks very interesting. So yeah, added to my Futu call spreads. AMD, I diagonalized my call. So the other day I got into a September 17th, 97.5 call. I sold an August 20th, 114 strike call against it. So to me, I like to do that. Like, the seasonality is going to be bad. I want to stick with my position, but let me sell an out of the money call against my long position. So yeah, I was surprised. I was able to sell the 114 strike for almost $2. So that to me is telling me the options market is showing that, there's a big appetite for this AMD still. Options market thinks it can get all the way up there. So we'll see what happens. And then I'll go through these real quick. I closed out the remaining half of my IWM calls for a nice winner. Closed them out for 534 and got out before IWM had its big spill. And that was me again. Like, I'm not going to let this turn into a loser. So I closed out for a winner here in my second half. And, then IWM fell apart after. I had this SPY calendar spread. I put this on, like, literally very close to the lows of this recent downdraft that we had maybe like a week or two ago. Closed it out for $7.89. I had paid $4.29 for that. So that was almost, maybe like an 80% winner. Pretty nice. And then my Twitter, I have some January 2022 calls, 55 strikes that I'm really deep in the money on. And I just continue to sell premium against them. And I'm reducing my cost basis. So I did that as well. So yeah, today I tried to be defensive, but just button things up. Make sure like I'm keeping it tight, managing my risk, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with where I am heading into next week. But we'll see what happens. We always have to expect the unexpected. And, you just have to be able to adapt when things, even if a curveball comes or whatever, you have to adapt. Now, let's see. We'll really quickly go to our options order flow because I don't want to make this like a 1-hour webinar on your Friday night. So let's see. We'll just do our options race. This is showing you like visually all the options flow as it came across the tape today. Oh my gosh. So Amazon, look at all this flow that's still coming in for Amazon. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we have, and look at all this flow coming in for AMD, team. Let's go. So this is a leader right here. So a lot of flow for AMD, a lot of flow for Apple. Shout out to Zane. He pointed that out earlier today. I did not see that, and that was awesome that he just threw out there like, hey, there's a ton of Apple calls going up. And the price action definitely looks interesting for Apple. Yes, this put in a nice green candle today. Closed up 0.15%. So I'll be looking at this one next week for sure. We'll see if it can make an advance. And then team we already looked at. Pinterest, there's probably people buying the dip. Roku, let's take a look at that one. And then we'll break for today. Yeah, Roku. So this was a tough one where this was very tantalizing up here. I remember this day when it closed up like 10% and everyone was like losing their minds, going crazy. Oh my gosh, this is like the next coming of Christ. And yeah, it's very tough. So this one just completely rolled over. So a lot of these growth names, are rolling over the past couple days. So it really just depends where you are in the market. But with that being said, hope you all have an awesome weekend. I'll be posting my weekend market analysis video for members. I'll also be posting my weekend watch list along with my weekend watch list video. If you are interested in signing up for the Pristine Capital trading community, feel free to go to my website, pristinecapital.net, and you can do so there. If you want to do a free trial, you can do that as well. So feel free to go to the website. That being said, have an awesome weekend, everyone. I will see you all next time.